About to go live on YouTube. About to go live on YouTube. Yeah. Yeah.
Can't see yourself.
Good. Ain't turn on the light. But they know they hear me though. Yeah.
What up? What up? What up?
You know my left hand had the camera.
I tried to top off a regular rate. Shawty on purpose, a drug addict. I got the torch I can give you.
every night, every day out, every day. Everyone is hating on another nigga. The tree of nigga every day I'm in it. I gotta get it. How'd I know? Money don't grow on fucking trees. I gotta get this money what I fucking live. Money deal bills run up and high. I don't know why. That's the drill. I'm a real nigga every day. You can catch me on the software or the fast, no. Hit me one good nigga out of with your ass. I don't play about my city. Crossing around one good time, you gon' get it. Everybody want it, you dead. That's alright. All I know. Crossing one good time, I'm about to show you who you're fucking renting with me. Already know. It's your boy Dre Free all day and that. I'm gonna get y'all to the fucking top, man. I gotta get it. Every day I'm in the fucking sky. Gotta get it every fucking fuck I can. 100, you already know what's up. I got a ball to the day till I die. They wanna hate a nigga every single chance. He get this hoe. You already know. I got ride 30 every day, man. Keep on hating on it, nigga, gotta show you. Keep on messing with me, I'ma have to let you. With the burning, and all I know. Keep it real all day, every day, man. I don't lane with the fucking lame shit. Fuck around, good time, I'ma show you with the burning talking about. I'm about to let you out. You about to blow up in the body bag. Hmm?
I'm bad. You know one thing. Yeah, you know.
What's up? What's up? What's up, man? What?
What?
All right, bro.
Oh, I see. Huh. Oh my God, pizza. What time is it down here?
Do we got pizza in there?
You sure?
What pizza?
Come here, ain't no pizza.
What pizza we got in there?
You can't watch it.
Yeah.
We got pepper wine here. Hey, cook that bitch for us.
What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up?
Studied, tested, proven. For the world's best athletes, nothing beats Gatorade.
Carmelo Anthony is the big news of the day. Woj and Royce Young reporting the Thunder will, in fact, part ways with Melo this summer. Remember, he opted in to that $27.9 million year of his contract. But when you talk about his salary, look at these numbers on screen. With Russell Westbrook, with Paul George, with Steven Adams, that is a huge, huge tax bill that the Thunder are facing. And look, 310 committed to payroll and luxury tax. If they just waive Anthony and just waive and stretch him, they'd save $107 million. That is real money, even for an NBA owner. So that is the reason why beyond this deal. But the how is going to be really interesting because they are first pursuing a trade. Now, if it was a real trade, Carmelo Anthony would have to approve it because he has a no trade clause. If it is a trade just as a salary dump where the understanding is the team will cut him immediately and in a sense can become a free agent, the feeling is that his CA agent would agree to anywhere that he would go for that. But you have to get a team to take that salary. And as I always say, by the way, Oklahoma City knew what it was doing when they acquired Carmelo last year. This was not a shock. Oh my God, he's set to make $28 million. So this is a problem they knew they were getting into. How do you think they're going to solve it?
Well, I mean, try to find a trade, right? There's one team I think that has the cap space to make that happen, the Chicago Bulls.
The
reunion 4 years later. I was telling producer Steve before the show, there's a really eerie parallel to this. 10 years ago, Phoenix Suns, we had Kurt Thomas on our payroll. We loved him as a player, but the luxury tax bill was just too much. Trying to find a taker. There was only one team that had the cap space to do it. It was the Oklahoma City Thunder. And you know what Sam Presti did? He said it's going to cost. He said how much? First round pick, probably two of them, unprotected. Two unprotected, and he knew what he was doing. He was raking us over the coals because he had the leverage. 10 years later, he's staring down the biggest luxury tax bill in NBA history. And I can't lie, I'm sitting here hoping Gar picks up the phone like, hey buddy, how many first round picks you want to give up?
By the way,
first round picks that big.
I got to make a point about the graphic on your screen. When it says worst for Melo, it's not worst in the NBA. It's worst for him.
Yeah.
So please be a little careful here. What do you think of the Chicago Bulls angle, Mr. Chicago?
Gar is working that phone going, give me all the picks.
Right,
Give me everything you got. But Rachel, look, this around the buyout eventually. He was gone. He landed elsewhere. The reality for Carmelo is he had plenty of chances last season to be the guy. He had plenty of open looks within the offense with Russell Westbrook and Paul George. It didn't happen.
Carmelo Anthony. His days in Oklahoma City officially numbered. That, according to our Adrian Wojnarowski and Royce Young. The Thunder are working with Melo's camp to trade him, use the stretch provision on him, or utilize a combination of the stretch provision and a buyout. That move would save them $100 million. Stephen A., what are you hearing about his future?
Well, obviously that, he's not going to be in Oklahoma City. And initially, myself included, along with a bevy of others, were under the impression that LA, here he comes, simply because LeBron is there, simply because he has a home in LA and he's had one for several years or what have you. And then I was reminded before my radio show on ESPN started by somebody very close to him, Houston would have the edge even over LA. First of all, as close as he is with LeBron, he's closer with CP3, number one. Number two, there was a relationship that was already cultivated there when he wanted to end up there last year because he thought he was going to Houston. It's just that Houston couldn't get the New York Knicks to take Ryan Anderson's 3 years, $60 million contract left on the table. That's what was worth on his contract. They couldn't get the Knicks to bite on that. That's why that deal never happened. Otherwise, Melo would have been in Houston last year. He also cares about his money. There's no state income tax in the state of Texas. Houston is in the state of Texas. So all of those things contribute. And at the end of the day, when you see what they did without him, that they went to the conference finals in Game 7, when you recognize the fact that there's no longer a Trevor Ariza there, who, because of CP's 3-4-year, $160 million commitment to Houston, combined with Clint Capella's schedule to get an exorbitant amount of dollars as well, they had to let go of Trevor Ariza. He signs a 1-year, $15 million deal with Phoenix. As a result, it opens up a slot at the small forward spot, which was the original position Melo starred in before OKC asked him to transition to the 4 position. Didn't work, which did not work out for him. So you take all of those things into consideration. The only hiccup potentially would be Mike D'Antoni, who once coached Melo in New York, who wanted Melo. He wanted to keep Danilo Gallinari and Wilson Chandler and all of those guys, as opposed to trading them in Denver for Carmelo Anthony. But James Dolan and those boys weren't having that, and they brought Melo there, and a relationship with D'Antoni never meshed, primarily because of those reasons. Melo knew the man never wanted him to begin with. But this isn't New York, this is Houston. And D'Antoni has obviously been very, very successful there, along with his system, with Harden and Chris Paul being the face of it. So all Melo would have to do is get there, ingratiate himself into that situation, which would be facilitated by his best friend in Chris Paul. And I think that Houston right now is perceived as the team that has the edge over everybody else.
I would be shocked if Carmelo landed in Houston. He had a hard time being kind of a catch-and-shoot guy with the Thunder. And with Houston, that's what he'd have to be now. I do acknowledge that there were 2 guys who used Carmelo very well on offense when they were at the Olympics on the Dream Team, the sequel. And that was Chris Paul and LeBron James. So either Houston or the Lakers would make sense from that point of view, because both those guys seem to know how to play with Carmelo in a way that allowed Carmelo to show his skin, to use his offensive repertoire without slowing up the offense, without having everyone else wait around for the ball. But Houston has a system that works so well that they really should have beaten the Warriors. They had a Game 7 at home, didn't play with CP3, one of their 2 best players, missed every 3-point shot they took. That's barely hyperbole. And they still only lost by single digits. I don't think you mess with something like that by bringing in a guy who needs the ball and was unable to play in a modern offense in OKC. I'd be very surprised, not to mention the D'Antoni issue, if Carmelo wound up in Houston. I do think he could easily wind up with the Lakers, because the Lakers would have to do nothing to acquire him. He wouldn't cost them much if there was a buyout. I don't know what it would be, Stephen A. You would know better than I, I'm sure, by talking to people, some kind of
Max, you don't think that
something like that.
Max, you don't think that front court's already too crowded there in LA, that basketball-wise, it makes sense?
Well, maybe, except that Carmelo is a special offensive player in the sense that he has a refined all-around offensive game that a guy like LeBron could make good use of. And when you think of the talent on LA, you don't have to give up anything for Carmelo except a little bit of money. So now all of a sudden, you got Rondo to
you go with LeBron. I mentioned Josh Hart, the things he can do. You still have Ingram. You still have Kuzma. Now you add Carmelo. By the way, they have KCP, who shot very well and has defensive potential. They're just Lonzo. You still got all these pieces, many of whom have actual trade value. So yes, you have a surplus, but that surplus would indicate to me you could use it. You could use some of those young upside pieces to get something else you want. The point is, Carmelo doesn't cost you anything in treasure or draft picks or anything. Hunger strike. Master P finally came to his aid and brought attention to this, and now
we're good. Thank you. All right, so Geronda, thank you so much, girl. I am so happy you are finally able to do this interview with me. All right, so to the listeners, just in case y'all don't know who Geronda is, Geronda was one of R. Kelly's ex-sex captives, okay? She's been featured on The Real. She's told her story. Briefly, she hasn't really gone in depth on the extent of the relationship between her and R. Kelly, and now she's here with me to tell it all, to tell what she couldn't say on national TV, okay? So it's fair game on the radio. Geronda, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Anytime, girl, anytime. I saw you in my comments on Instagram the other day backing up everything that I said about R. Kelly and his gay lover, Bubba, who's been sleeping together for years. But before we get into that, okay, I want to ask you, how long were you with R. Kelly?
I was with Rob for 8 months.
8 months, okay. And when did you meet him?
I met him when I was 14. I met him at the trial. So it was about 2 weeks before my 15th birthday. So this was back in 2008.
Okay, and this was in Chicago?
Yes, it was in Chicago during his trial.
All right. Now, how long did it take you guys to actually develop a sexual relationship? Because you did mention to me that you were a virgin when you met Rob.
Yes, I was a virgin when I met Rob, but I did suffer from sexual abuse as a child.
Okay, but just that was, involuntarily, so technically you were still a virgin because you didn't agree to have sex with whoever violated you when you were a child.
That is very true.
Okay.
But it didn't take long because when I went out there, the very first time I went out there, me and Rob engaged in sex.
And how old were you?
I was 16 years old.
Wow.
When I went to his house.
1 year older than Aaliyah, when he married Aaliyah when she was 15.
Yes.
Okay. Now, so he was your first.
Yes, he was.
All right. So you were with him 8 months. Now, you wrote a book, and it's called A Life After Abuse.
A Life Beyond Abuse.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. A Life Beyond Abuse. Okay, and to those of y'all listening, the link is below the video. I highly recommend that you get that book. She really goes into detail, and she doesn't hold back, okay? So that link is below the video. Now, after you met Rob when you were 14, you guys didn't have sex until you were 16, and he was your first.
That's correct.
Now, you mentioned to me something interesting before this interview on the phone. You said that before you guys did anything, had any sex, there was a contract that you had to sign. Tell me about that contract.
The contract actually came after we had engaged already.
Oh.
Yes. That's when the contract came about. So he had me write a letter and sign 2 contracts.
The first contract was a contract. It was a non-disclosure agreement saying that I wouldn't talk about anything that happened at his house.
Okay.
And one of the things that was listed on that non-disclosure was that I was there to please him, even if that meant pleasuring someone else.
Oh.
So even if pleasing him meant that I had to pleasure someone else. So I just had to please him.
And that was
all about Rob.
And that was in one of the non-disclosure agreements that you signed.
Yes, it was. That's
okay.
correct.
And how old are
Yeah,
you?
man.
How old were you when you signed this contract?
I was 16 years old when I signed that one.
Okay. Did you? So obviously you read it. Did you read the whole thing? Was it in depth about the things that you had to do when it talked about? I guess when it described pleasing him and somebody else.
I didn't read the whole contract. I just read like a little bit of it, and then as I started trying to like really focus on it and read so I can comprehend and understand what I was getting ready to sign, he just like pretty much rushed it. He's like, "Oh no, that's just saying you're not going to talk about what goes on here. Just go ahead and sign that." And I was like, "Okay," and I just signed my name, and I handed it back, and he handed me another one. And this contract was a contract saying that I worked for him, saying that he hired me on as an assistant. So I signed that contract because he just said, just sign this one too. And it just says that you worked for me. That's all. Just you had to do some, assistant work. So I was like, okay, no problem. And I signed it and I handed him the paper over.
So as a 16-year-old, you signed a contract saying that you were his personal assistant. And it was a non-disclosure contract. And that you would please him even if it meant pleasing somebody else.
Yes.
Now, you did speak of some other things that was in the contract. You said that he made you write, I guess, a letter?
Yes, I had to write a letter. It was, he had a notepad with a yellow paper on it, and he had me write a letter. And in this letter, I was just confessing to things that I didn't do. And some of the things were, he said that I had to write down that I had contracted an STD from him.
Oh.
And yes, he wanted me to write down that I contracted an STD. I stole $250,000 from him, and that I had stole jewelry from him. I also had to write down that he fired me. And it was like an apology letter at the same time. I was like, it started off like, "Dear Rob, I'm writing you to let you know that I'm sorry." And I just listed all the bad things that I had done. But in reality, I didn't do these things. So, and I had before, as he was telling me what to write, I told him, okay, but I didn't do any of these things. And he said, well, if you didn't do it, you wouldn't have a problem writing it. And so in my head, I was like, yeah, you're right, because I didn't do these things. Why not write it? So I wrote it down. I wrote down everything he told me to write down.
At 16
years old. At 16 years old. But he was very specific. He told me, do not put the date.
Oh.
So it didn't click in my head at the time. But he said, don't date it. And I dated it anyway.
Okay, so you
specific date, I just put that it was June of 2009 when I wrote it down. I just put the 6th and then a slash and then I put 2009. I didn't write down the exact date.
Okay. Now let us discuss the pleasuring, because I did a video on the channel exposing R. Kelly and that he was gay, hypersexual, and I specifically named 2 men that had been carrying on sexual relationships with R. Kelly for many of years. Now, one, you actually got into it with on Instagram when I did out him. He goes by the name of Bubba. His page name is listed under @RubyChris. Okay, and that will be in the link below. That will be in the description box as well if you guys want to look him up. But you jumped in the comments when he was coming back saying that these were all lies to confirm a lot of things between him and Rob. What was that about?
Now, Instagram, it did get a little crazy there. But, yes, Bubba, he is Rob's lover. I've witnessed some things between those two. And I don't know why Bubba is trying to deny everything, because it is true. And that's why he ended up blocking me, because I started speaking the truth about him, where I had a relationship with Jermaine. That's his real name.
Okay.
I had a relationship with him after I had left Rob. So he tried to console me and just be there for me. And I felt like it was genuine, but it wasn't. He ended up being just like Rob. He was the same type of manipulator. So he was doing the things to me that Rob was doing to me prior to dealing with Bubba. And Rob was doing these things to Bubba as well.
Okay, so just for the record, Bubba is Jermaine. And so you met Bubba
hunger strike. Master P finally came to his aid and brought attention to this. And now the witness recants his testimony that C Murder was involved.
YouTube is great for people that are just starting a new business or small business owners like myself, because we're all on a...
Sweet Rich Radio is DJ Scream right here. Moran is with me, and it's time for the Superstar Check-In. We got a special guest in the building. She goes by the name of Drea Kelly. Welcome to Hood Rich Radio.
Yes, Rich.
Yeah, welcome. And she has Africa on the back of her neck. Yes, look at you. Look at that skin. Oh my God.
Thank you.
Look at sorry about all this melanin.
What's up with you? Everything good?
Everything is good. It's beautiful. I'm blessed and highly
Seem like you're in a good place. You're good spirited.
I am.
Yeah.
I can tell you can cook.
I can.
I told you, bro.
Yes.
Moran
I
is
get
big.
them pots, baby.
Moran is big on the food.
I can tell you.
Yes. I love it. But wait, why can you tell I can cook?
That's how you talk. And,
Okay, here we go, yeah.
You
Sound like you can cook.
You sound like you can cook.
What
You
is
know,
that?
I assume that you go to church. You go to church?
Yes.
Yep, you go to
Girl
church.
know how to make dressing, not
Yes,
stuffing.
yep, absolutely. You make collard greens too, don't you?
She showed them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You don't like chitlins?
No. Actually, I'm vegan.
But see, bro, I'd be right, bro.
Yes.
That's not hard though. She doesn't look like she eats chitlins.
I mean, no, you don't.
You know how you can look at somebody and tell they eat chitlins?
Not the chitlin, hashtag chitlin face.
Just be a little sweaty.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They always sweating it out.
Yeah, and then you got like that.
Some chitlins stay in you about 10 years.
That's
And
true.
they give you that asthmatic breathing, like
Yeah.
that chitlin breathing. Yeah.
I've never eaten a chitlin in my life, but I'm sure.
Yeah, I think that we have all been duped as kids and bamboozled.
I've never had a chitlin.
Yeah, I don't know. You got to go back to like 2.5,
I had a pork
3.
chop now.
Oh yeah, pork chops.
That's a pork chop.
Okay, well
Pork chops
that's
are not
chitlin.
lit.
Pork chops are chitlin's cousins.
Yeah, but
So
we don't eat pork anymore.
Good kind of Lord.
you still eat meat though?
Oh, I eat turkey. And I eat. I don't eat. I try to stay away from fried chicken.
You know why we eat a little meat here and there? Because life be stressful.
Facts.
Eat a vegetable. It'll save your life.
So with some meat, like we eat turkey.
We need a little protein.
A little bit.
No, you get protein from your
I have
vegetables.
vegan days. I have whole
Okay, well,
vegan
there we
days
go.
where I go vegan for days. And I have days where I eat a little chicken.
If it makes you feel any better, I drink a gallon of water every day. He's my witness.
That's why that skin look like you 5 months old. Okay.
You can tell he don't eat
Yes.
chitlins.
Yeah, what?
All right, enough about chitlins.
We got a superstar in the building. Yeah.
Tell everybody about Drea Kelly.
Drea Kelly, Southside girl,
Hey.
born and raised, Chicago.
There you go.
Yes, danced before I could walk. My friend said one day he called me to sit up and start dancing Soul Train on. My dad said he was like getting it. It wasn't like the little toddler offbeat. He was like you was in it in time with the music. They cut the commercial. He said you put your hands up on the screen like Poltergeist, like more. And they said we knew from that moment on you're gonna be a performer.
Oh, I see. Come on.
Welcome to Layla Lynn TV. Showed sympathy for R. Kelly and actually broke down in tears, crying about R. Kelly. Almost got her show canceled. Advertisers threatened to pull their ads from her show. And in show business, if you don't have advertisers, you don't have a show. So the first time Wendy spoke on the R. Kelly allegations was just days after Anti-Sexual Harassment Initiative Time's Up released a statement calling for radio stations and streaming services to mute R. Kelly. That was the hashtag, mute R. Kelly. That's when Wendy showed sympathy for R. Kelly while sharing her story about meeting him. She said, quote, "I'm not even going to belabor the point. I know things about R. Kelly that I will take to my grave unless he tells them." Wendy said that when she met privately with R. Kelly, no question was off limits and that he had answered everything she asked him, but she had promised not to reveal the things that he said. But Wendy did reveal to some and remind others that R. Kelly is illiterate, something that R. Kelly has confessed to in numerous interviews in the past. She said, quote, "He can't read, he can't write, and he can't add. I won't tell you about how he maneuvers through the world. I can't understand not knowing how to read, write, or add, and I don't understand parents who unleash their kids. That's it." And she cut herself off before bursting into tears. It sounded like Wendy blamed the parents for their children ended up being held captive by R. Kelly, and that was a big red flag for advertisers, especially in the current Time's Up movement. You can't blame victims for being held against their will. You just can't do that. Anyway, after Wendy's comments blaming the victims, network executives called a meeting asking Wendy to pull back on her on-air support for R. Kelly because they feared the show could take a major hit from advertisers if she continued to publicly support R. Kelly. A source told thedailymail.com that network executives told Wendy, quote, "If you lose advertisers over this, it's going to be a problem. So it's time to take a different approach to R. Kelly before your talk show is gone and you're having to go on the road and open up for him." Can y'all imagine that? Wendy Williams telling jokes, opening up for R. Kelly. So on a later episode, Wendy switched her stance. This time when discussing the latest lawsuit against R. Kelly for infecting another woman with STDs, Wendy said, quote, "At this point, what do you say? R. Kelly is apparently guilty of a lot of things. The law just has to catch up to the accusations. You know what I mean? I think more girls will probably come out and tell their stories. I think there will be more." Then she added, "Where are the cops? How long will it take before another young lady comes out and they can band together and claw Gloria Allred or her daughter? R. Kelly, you need to lie on that sword." So that was the complete opposite of her initial statements on R. Kelly. And she purposely said that she felt R. Kelly was, quote, "guilty of a lot of things" so that she could keep advertisers and ultimately keep her show. A source told the Daily Mail Wendy loves her job. She lives to be on TV every day. The last thing she's going to do is intentionally jeopardize this dream opportunity, not even for R. Kelly. And I don't blame Wendy for not wanting to lose her job, especially over someone like R. Kelly. But what do you think? If Wendy really does support R. Kelly personally and privately, should she share that on the show, or should she continue to refer to him as guilty so that she can keep her show? Leave a comment and let me know what you think. As always, thanks for watching.
Always talk damn about nigga rich in the motherfucking name. Talking about people can't read and shit.
I just did an interview today. I just did it. So it's not like I'm holding the interview from you on purpose. My husband is downstairs cutting down the interview because I'm really tired. This is going to be the first video he's actually cut down for me. I normally do my own stuff because I kind of want to put my touch to it. But I just conducted a really deep interview with a girl who's been vetted. You've seen her before. You know who she is. She's told parts of her story, and it's not Kitty. It's not Drea. It's not none of them hoes, okay? On her
Yo, what's up, y'all? It's your boy Kels, man. And first of all, I want to apologize to all my fans in Chicago and basically all around the world, wherever I'm performing at, and they canceled me. I don't know why they canceled the show. I never heard of a show being canceled because of homeless, but I guess it's the first time for everything, so I apologize to you guys. In the meantime, I'm going to try to get to the bottom line of it, as far as my lawyers are concerned, see exactly what happened and why I was canceled. Until then, man, I love y'all, and I'll see y'all on the next come around. You understand? I hope you guys, don't put that on me. It ain't on me. All right? One.
All right, Mr. Telephone TV, that was the voice of R. Kelly, who is now, his career is, the back end of his career is in shambles. Well, let's make it clear. R. Kelly has had a lot of success throughout his career, and I don't think he should be the one to complain, right? Because I'm pretty sure that brother has made a lot of money over time. He might have some FU money, right? And I don't want to do a deep dive in this situation because a lot of it is speculation, because we don't know what happened in this man's home or what didn't happen with consenting adults. Here's the only thing I'll say, and I'll get back into the fact.
It's a one mean. It's a woman say. Speak yourself. Good.
All right, so we got R. Kelly in the city of Detroit. How's it been in the D?
It's good, man. Can I get the mic, man? It's good, man. I'm having a great time here in Detroit, man. I always love the D. D reminds me of Chicago, man. It's like my cousins up here, you know what I'm saying? So I'm always having fun, man, wherever I'm celebrated, not just tolerated, you understand?
Right. How was the show last night?
Show was off the chain, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, man, as long as we get a lot of love from the fans, man, you can't beat that. You can't beat it.
All right, cool. And are you stopping for lunch?
Yeah, I'm at Five Guys right now, man, about to get it in. 5 hot dogs, 5 fries, 5 Cokes. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Everything 5. Everything 5 guys.
All right.